and procedures. Keep your business within those outside of those exclusions that keeps your business covered. So if you have any issues with contracts, leases, please give us an opportunity to earn your business.
All right. Well, thank you, Lance, again. We appreciate you being here. And all right, next up, I would like to acknowledge our newest chamber members who have recently joined. We have Koto Custom Carts, Brown & Brown Insurance, Vital Integrators, Matt Long, Geico Insurance, Nick Swear with Edward Jones, Acadian Pride Fragrance Company, Tread Connection, Davis Design and Consulting, and Lawn Yacht Travel Agency. So we want to welcome those new members. Thank you for supporting the chamber, and we're excited to have you on board. Another announcement I'd like to make is, you may have seen through our social media, but we did announce our scholarship winner, who was Mr. Dalen Cambray, son of Miss Sandra Cambray, CPA, and he was the recipient of our $2,000 scholarship that he can use towards furthering his education. So we just want to congratulate him on being selected for that scholarship. All right, now I guess we'll go ahead and start with some updates from Chief Ricky Boudreaux and Mayor Ken Ritter. Thank you all so much for being here today. We really appreciate you being on our panel. Chief, would you like to go ahead and give an update first?
Yes. Okay, first we have solved the Century Defense burglary. That guy has been formally charged. A warrant has been signed for him. He is incarcerated in the Rapide Parish Jail at this time. As soon as he finishes his stuff there, he will be coming here for trial. Lock your doors, lock your doors, lock your doors. They're still out prowling around. Thank God it seemed like they were out Sunday night in some of the inclement weather that it was supposed to be, but they didn't get anything. It seemed like everybody had locked their doors, so keep up the good job with that. Other than that, the city's been real peaceful and quiet, and we wanted it to stay that way.
Great. Well, thank you for the update, Chief Ricky Boudreaux. Now we can go ahead and move into a city update. Mayor Ritter, would you like to give us those updates?
Yeah, thank you, Jessica. Happy to be here with you today and join Chief Boudreaux and also Lance to speak to the members of the Youngsville Chamber of Commerce. It's definitely been an interesting couple of months, as I'm sure evidenced by your own personal behavior or decline in your business or just your change of lifestyle over the past couple of months. So it's great to be able to talk back with you and look forward to an opportunity where we can meet again in person in the near future. The city of Youngsville is still moving ahead on business as usual on so many fronts. We did decrease our staffing inside the city building for City Hall for 2 months, but the work of the city and on your behalf has continued. And we're still in a great place. One of the things that's been very interesting that I wanted to share with everyone, we were very concerned about the health of our local businesses, the health of our sales tax collections, and what the impact of having the COVID-19 pandemic was going to have on the Youngsville business community and on really Youngsville city government. But I'm pleased to report that for the calendar month of April 1st to April 30th, that Youngsville sales tax, when you look at April of 2019 versus April of 2020, our sales tax was 12 points higher than it was same month last year. And frankly, that did come as a surprise to me because, as you know, most of the world was shut down during that time period. But I'm reminded of a couple of things. I'm reminded that despite there being a stay-at-home mandate, everyone was still busy shopping and buying things on Amazon, on Wayfair, having home deliveries from Stein's and Lowe's. Our construction of new homes and businesses continued during that time period. So construction materials were still being delivered into the city of Youngsville. Cars were still being bought and registered within the city of Youngsville. Our grocery stores were doing very well during that time period. So we were braced to have a pretty tough month of sales tax collections when compared to the previous year. But actually, it turned out to not be too bad. So again, we were 12% higher than the same month of April last year. And our fiscal year to date is now up 5% from the previous year. Our fiscal year is from July 1st to June 30th. So we're still 5 points ahead of last year. We're planning our budget for the 2021 fiscal year right now. Later this month, I'll be presenting, or actually as early as the end of this week, we'll be presenting our budget to the Youngsville City Council for their approval. They'll be voting on it later this month, and that'll be the budget that guides city operations from July 1st to the end of till June 30th of 2021. We're still planning to have a very conservative budget, despite the optimistic retail sales report that we just received. We want to make sure that that's not an anomaly. We want to make sure that the long-term impact of the slowdown in the oil and gas economy, that we truly understand what the impact of that's going to be. We saw a national jobs report that just came out a couple of days ago that showed that the national unemployment rate dropped to about 13%, which is actually better than I think a lot of economists were predicting. So where we actually land and how far the economic impact of the economic slowdown and of COVID is, I think remains to be seen. So as a result, we've directed all of our department heads to present a budget that's at a decline of last year. We're presenting a budget to the city council that is operating at a 6% sales tax decline. We feel that that's the responsible thing to do right now. And certainly if our sales tax revenue flexes, or if our sales tax revenue comes in stronger than where we've been, we'll be able to flex up and adjust our expenses accordingly. So that was a big win that I wanted to share with everybody. We're surrounded by other communities that have not had similar success in those numbers. So it's something that we don't take for granted. And I'm certainly not sharing them to be boastful, but just to give kudos to the Youngsville community that's continued to, arguably shop local and shop closer to home during that time period, during that stay-at-home period. A couple of other things that are important to share that I think are big wins right now. The state legislature just voted on the House Bill 2, which is the capital outlay bill. And the big win for the city of Youngsville in that bill was that we were able to secure nearly $6 million in improvements for Youngsville Highway. The city of Youngsville partnered with the city of Broussard and Lafayette, and Mayor President Guillory was very supportive of this project to improve Youngsville Highway. The Youngsville portion would be to 3-lane Youngsville Highway from Hart to Farm Road, which is just south of Ambassador Caffrey, all the way into Youngsville at the intersection of 89 and 92. So it is a state road. So logically, we asked our state delegation for their assistance in securing funding so that way we can improve that major corridor into the city of Youngsville. That bill is before the Senate this week, and once it's passed, it'll go to Governor Edwards for signature. So we're staying tuned and staying optimistic that will come to fruition once it passes the Senate and clears the governor's office. Big milestone was also had this past week as we were entering hurricane season and as we were preparing for our first named tropical storm of the year. The big milestone on our regional detention projects. Last week, we received in hand our first reimbursement check for the Cooley-LaSalle project. The Cooley-LaSalle project is 23 acres land acquisition right off of South La Riviere near Highland Ridge, just north of Southside High School. And it's at the confluence of not only the LaSalle Coulee, but a lateral that drains behind Highland Ridge neighborhood. So we received the first reimbursement for that project, which is $56,000. The first reimbursement from FEMA for the Bayou Park Purdue project is expected to be in hand this week. And then in addition to receiving funding reimbursed, the other big win for us was we were filing expropriation paperwork in the court in the 15th JDC last week. We literally had the documents on my desk determining who was going to notarize my signature when we received word from the property owner of the LaSalle Coulee project that they want to sell the property amicably. So because they've accepted our offer, a verbal offer, our purchase offer of that property, we've scheduled the closing of that property. So that's a really huge milestone. I want to share that we are working on a fireworks event for July 3rd. I know many people have reached out and have inquired about that. We're still working through some details about that. But for the Youngsville business community, know that we recognize that that's a big draw of people into your restaurants, your bars, into our community for shopping, or even if stop and get gas. So it's not going to look the same as it has in years past. So we can try to be as respectful as we can of social distancing and those components. But we are going to be having a 4th of July event, and we look forward to sharing those details as soon as they become available. Last comments I want to make really center around the business community. I shared our overall picture of how sales taxes have come in for the month of, the calendar month of April, but make no mistake, I know that many of our business owners are suffering. I've heard from many of you where, your business operated at a loss for those months. And, what can we really do to help you have this behind us as soon as possible? Obviously, one of the big things we could do is to get our sports complex back open and running. And I believe this will be maybe our third weekend that we'll have, 45 to 65 teams playing at the Youngsville Sports Complex. We recognize that that's a big driver of traffic and consumers into our local businesses that contribute to our local economy. So that is something that was important for all of us. We shared the vision of Mayor President Guillory with his safe shop initiatives and making sure that we were opening our businesses and providing them guidelines to operate safely. And your Youngsville City Council, I want to share some things about them because they've really led a lot of conversation in my office about what can we do to let them know that we care. And there's a couple of things that hopefully you're aware of. One is the Youngsville City Council approved a resolution which offered an abatement of your utility fees for water and sewer for the equal amount of whatever your March and April bills were. So that resolution passed our city council at the May council meeting. The next day, our administration had a process stood up on youngsville.us where you could apply. When you do apply, this type of report gets generated from the gravity form that you enter your information in. It's sent to my office, and we've turned around, I think, we've issued 23 credits to utility accounts of businesses that self-attested that they were impacted by COVID-19. And I'll share with you that the average credit was just shy of $114, and the total credits was just over $2,600. So, is it obviously enough to keep a business that may be struggling in business? We recognize probably not. But what we wanted to do, and our city council was pretty clear in their directive to me. They wanted to show that we care and that we are a successful community when we have a strong business community. And when we have a strong business community, we have the sales tax collections that enable us to invest more back into our community. So the application process for the utility abatement program is still underway, and you have until I think July 31st to apply for it. If you're interested, Youngsville.us, there's a button, a quick button at the top that talks about COVID-19 utility relief. So if you've been affected by COVID-19 and your business health has been impacted, go ahead and fill it out, and we'll get a credit onto your utility bill. The city of Youngsville also, we relaxed the sign regulations for a 2-month period. That has since expired. We felt it was important for restaurants and businesses to be able to convey what their new operating strategies were. So if you didn't have dine-in available, but you had a drive-through open, we wanted you to be able to put that messaging out, and we provided the platform for you to be able to do that. That expired on last Friday, which was the same day that we entered the new phase where 50% capacity is in effect for restaurants. Obviously, everybody knows about PPP by now. If you have a business, how about the Payroll Protection Plan? Hopefully, everybody also knows about the EIDL program, which is Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, of which part of that could be a grant. If you still need information on those two programs, we've partnered with LEDA. By calling 311, you can get information on how to apply for any of those programs to assist the absence of cash flow that your business may be realizing now. I'm sure you all know about that. If you don't, reach out to me. I'll be happy to provide more information about it. But some things that are in the works right now that I think are important that we all should be aware of. Mayor President Guillory, and I'm just pulling up my notes here. Mayor President Guillory, there were some federal funds that were available that were traditionally used for distribution through the Department of Housing and Urban Development, but $850,000 was part of this program that the two Lafayette councils passed to put $850,000 to a small business grant program in partnership with LEDA. And right now, they were hoping to have an application process in place by the beginning of June. Unfortunately, it's government funding, so they had to get their process approved by HUD, and so they're a little bit delayed right now. But for everybody that was affected, that has a business that was affected, maybe you were underfunded by PPP and EIDL, or maybe you weren't eligible for PPP and EIDL. The Lafayette Consolidated Government or the Lafayette Consolidated Administration and then the two councils recognized that they wanted to put some money available for a grant program to be able to help your business through that time period. So stay tuned with that, because as soon as they started taking applications, I know Mayor President Guillory always says, when in doubt, apply. So apply for those programs. The last program that I think everybody should be watching a little bit of is there's funding that has become available, I believe, as part of the CARES program, that would be reimbursements for local governments to offset expenses that you may have incurred as a local government related to COVID-19. Well, Youngsville, as many other municipalities, really didn't incur a lot of expenses because of COVID-19. Yeah, we spent a couple thousand extra dollars for signage, encouraging you to social distance at the Youngsville Sports Complex. And similarly, we put a few more officers out there during rec play to kind of be courtesy officers to encourage social distancing. But there's a growing group of government officials that realize that money would be better spent in the hands of our business community and not in the hands of government. So that legislation, I don't know the latest on it, but that's something that we really need to keep an eye on. I believe it passed the legislature in Louisiana, basically saying how much of that money they wanted to have available for small business grants, which is similar to what LCG did. So we need to keep our eye on that program as well, to get the money in the hands of small businesses. So basically, our in summary, our position has been, what can we do to get businesses open quicker through the Safe Shop program? What can we do to get our sports complex reopened as quick as possible, recognizing that it's a demand generator for our community? Encouraging people to apply for the programs that exist for PPP, EIDL, stay engaged with what happens with this $850,000 of dollars that are going to be controlled by LCG for small business grants. LEDA's also put up an additional $200,000 to supplement that program, and LEDA has a panel of people that are going to be vetting those applications as they come through. And then on the most local level, your city council, in their wisdom, has given us the authority to abate water and sewer utility costs for those businesses that have been affected. We recognize that all those things still don't make up for the time period that you were closed. So if there's more that we could do, please let us know. I mean, we are here to serve you at Youngsville City Government. But most importantly, I want to make sure that everyone knows of those things that are happening, and they stay engaged with those programs. I don't want to carry on too long, but I do want to share that that Foster Park is a big deal that's happening right now. It's an LCG park in the heart of Youngsville. It's about a 16-acre park. The Youngsville City Council has authorized me to negotiate the lease assignment on that park. It's a leased park right now by a private entity called Young's Industries, leased to Lafayette Consolidated Government. The Youngsville City Council has encouraged me to work with Lafayette to get that park under the control of the city of Youngsville. So what we're doing is we're basically working on a lease assignment that would make that an asset of the city of Youngsville. And we have conversations going on right now about what would the best use of that park be. So if you have ideas on it, stay tuned, because we'll probably be having further conversations about that. We have a great, I think it's an 8-foot bike trail sidewalk that's planned right now from along Railroad Street at the Youngsville Sports Complex behind Green Tea Linen to connect to the back of Foster Park, to connect into where their walking trail is. And we have other amenities we have brainstorming about to get you there. Early voting is an initiative that we're real excited about. We're trying to get an early voting site at the La Nouvelle Library in partnership with the city of Broussard. We recognize the challenges of early voting at the courthouse downtown is not the most convenient or conducive for parking. So the Youngsville City Council and the Broussard City Councils have agreed to split the cost of that early voting site for 2 years to make voting more accessible for our residents here closer to home. And I will close out. I think there's a couple comments that Jessica's going to ask me, but I'll close out and tell you that the long-awaited sidewalk project on Iberia Street from Waterview Apartments to the post office, we will finally be breaking ground on that project in this month of June. So you'll see some work happening where we're going to start closing in ditches on some of the parcels closest to the post office, before the small cemetery that's on Iberia Street. And we're going to get a 6-foot wide sidewalk down there. So it's been a long time in the making. So we'll finally be making some significant progress on that project. So I'll digress. Jessica.
Thank you, Mayor Ritter, for all of your updates. You really touched base on all of the questions and everything that our members had asked about. So that's actually perfect.
Perfect.
I do want to speak really quickly. LCG District 3 Councilman Josh Carlson was supposed to be with us today. Unfortunately, he got tied up somewhere. And so, but he did want me to give just a brief update on his behalf. He wanted to mention about the road overlay projects that are going to be complete that will affect Youngsville in 2020. He said to mention that Savoy Road from Youngsville city limits to Espace, the parish section of South La Riviere Road, Egret Road, Chemin Agreeable from Barrot to Romero Road, and all of Romero Road. So I know that a lot of residents and possibly business owners will be happy to hear about those roads that connect in and out of our city so that they'll be easier and safer for everyone. He also had mentioned about Foster Park, which Mayor Ritter already briefed us on. All right, and I think that Chief, do you have any other updates that you would like to give on anything or speak about? Oh, muted.
Jessica, if I could, I'll share with the group, since you brought up road projects. This is the long-awaited Savoy and Chemin roundabout plans right here. So I just got finished approving the traffic management plan during that construction. It was important to all of us to make sure that the businesses in front of Cypress Gardens weren't going to be affected by this road construction, by having accessibility to that strip center at Cypress Gardens blocked. And the engineers rose to the occasion, figured out a great traffic management plan where there would not be any impact there. So this project is on the cusp of being bid out. We'll probably have it bid out July or this summer, which is the same time that the Détente project is going to be finishing as well. So we're moving ahead with 2 roundabouts in 2 years. So just wanted to give a quick update about that.
And one other question that we were asked about an update on the parking at the sports complex. Is that a project that's starting?
Yeah, so thank you. That's a great question. Parking's underway there. I think we're adding about it's roughly about 200 spaces south of the rec center, behind the Raising Cane's Tennis Center, and connecting with the News parking lot for the baseball softball complex. So there's a lot of dirt that's being pushed around for that right now. And we're thrilled about it. Tonight, coincidentally, is the first night of the adult league of Sugar Beach. That was delayed because of COVID-19, but we have, I believe it's 45 adult teams that have signed up to play in that league, which is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. Tonight's their first night. And last night was the first night of the games for the rec program for the Youngsville recreational sport programs for baseball, softball, t-ball. That's also been delayed as well because of COVID-19. I know you mentioned a couple of businesses, Jessica, that have just joined the chamber, but I wanted to just share there's other businesses that perhaps haven't joined the chamber yet that I think everybody probably already knows about, but that's Rack's Barbecue and Catering. Slow Roll and Smoke is going to be opening this Saturday, June 13th. That's in Metairie Center, across from CC's. Pizzaville USA and Great American Cookie Company. We're looking forward to welcoming both of them to the city of Youngsville. They're both under construction in the new strip center called Sugar Point. That's on the west side of Chemin Parkway near Savoy, near the sports complex. Lord's Urgent Care is under construction in Metairie Center. Of course, El Paso Mexican restaurant. Everybody's seen that one, which is right behind and near Rouse's. Vibe has a great business model. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. They have some really colorful teas, I guess it is. But I'm looking forward to trying them out. They're going to be located next to 9 Round on East Milton Avenue. And then we have Huya Coffee, which is going to be at 1901 Chemin Parkway in Mill Commons, is doing their build out right now. And we have some really good prospects for the Royville development, which is on Lafayette Street in the heart of Youngsville, as everybody knows. That building just had their landscaping put in over the past weekend, and it looks phenomenal. So they inspired the city to get out there and mulch all of the trees that were along Lafayette Street as part of our streetscape program. So that's looking really good there, and hopefully some good announcements will be coming from that development pretty soon.
Well, thank you for the further updates. We appreciate it, Mayor Ritter. I want to just once again thank our sponsors of this webinar. Acadiana Bar and Grill, who I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, is offering 50% off today for lunch. So if you haven't had lunch yet, any of our chamber members, go by, grab some lunch, maybe for your staff. Or you can call and pick it up to go also. And I also want to thank Bill and Hernandez, attorney at law. Lance, Bill, thank you for being with us today. Do you have any other comments that you'd like to make?
No, I just appreciate the mayor and the chief coming out and their leadership that they through this trying time. It's very impressive. I mean, chief's a business, the mayor's a business owner. I know he's suffering just like everybody else and getting back out there, but you can't put a price on the type of leadership that chief and the mayor have brought the city through, and I'm greatly appreciative of it. But one of the things that if your business is hurting at this time, give us a call. Let us try to help you out, because we do worry about some of the delayed effects of quarantine, is the ones that you made, like certain businesses that have not been affected during that immediate time, but you're going to start to see maybe a slowdown in your September, October timeframe, that third quarter, that you see a lot of service industries because people are trying to catch up with their revenue, pay their bills. That's where, give us a call. Let us help you out. Let us find ways that we can help renegotiate leases for you, make sure that you stay on top of things. But we want to prevent businesses from hurting. We want businesses to thrive, and let's work together and try to get through this time. So I appreciate you allowing me to sponsor, and I love being a part of the chamber. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lance. We appreciate it also. And once again, thank you to our panelists, Chief Ricky Boudreaux and Mayor Ritter. We always appreciate having you support our chamber. And thank you for attending today. I guess that'll wrap things up. And so I just want to also mention to any of our members, please feel free to reach out to me if the chamber can be of any assistance in any way that I can help. We are more than happy to do so. You can call my office at 337-451-5862. And thank you all for joining, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.